Hello everyone, it's Rich Michael Jones. Time for the Bible read for June 1st. Be reading in 2 Samuel 18. David now mustered the men who were with him and appointed generals and captains to lead them. He sent the troops out in 3 groups, placing one group under Job, one under his brother Ashai, son of Zur, one under Ittai, the man from Gath. The king told his troops, "I'm going out with you." But his men objected strongly. "You must not go," they urged. "If we have to turn and run, and even if half of us die, it will make no difference to Absalom's troops. They will be looking only for you. You are worth 10,000 of us, and it is better that you stay here in the town and send help if we need it." "If you think that's the best plan, I'll do it," the king answered. So he stood alongside the gate of the town as all the troops marched out in groups of hundreds and thousands. And the king gave this command to Joab, Abishai, and Ittai: "For my sake, deal gently with young Absalom." And the troops heard the king give this order to the commanders. So the battle began in the forest of Ephraim, and the Israelite troops were beaten back by David's men. There was a greater slaughter that day, and 20,000 men laid down their lives. The battle raged all across the countryside, and more men died because of the forest than were killed by the sword. During the battle, Absalom happened to come upon some of David's men. He tried to escape on his mule, but he rode beneath the thick branches of a great tree. His hair got caught in the tree. His mule kept going and left him dangling in the air. One of David's men saw what had happened and told Job, "I saw Absalom dangling from a great tree." "What?" Job demanded. "You saw him there and didn't kill him? I would have rewarded you with 10 pieces of silver or hero's belt." "I would not kill the king's son for even 1,000 pieces of silver," the man replied to Job. "We all heard the king say to Abishai and Ittai, 'For my sake, please spare the young Absalom,' and if I had betrayed the king by killing his son, the king would certainly find out who did it. Yourself would be the first to abandon me." Enough of this nonsense," Job said. Then he took 3 daggers and plunged them into Absalom's heart as he dangled still alive in the great tree. 10 of Job's young armor bearers then surrounded Absalom and killed him. Then Job blew the ram's horn, and his men returned from chasing the army of Israel. They threw Absalom's body into a deep pit in the forest and piled a great heap of stones over it, and all Israel fled to their homes. During this lifetime, Absalom had built a monument to himself in the king's valley, for he said, "I have no sons to carry on my name." He named the monument after himself, and it is known as Absalom's monument to this day. Then Zadok's son Amaz said, "Let me run to the king with the good news, and the Lord has rescued him from his enemies." "No," Job told him, "it wouldn't be good news to the king that his son is dead. You can be my messenger another time, but not today." Then Job said to the man from Ethiopia, "Go tell the king what you have seen." The man bowed and ran off. But Amaz continued to plead with Job, "Whatever happens, please let me go too." "Why should you go, my son?" Job replied. "There will be no reward for your news." "Yes, but let me go anyway," he begged. Job finally said, "All right, go ahead." So Amaz took the less demanding route by the way of the plain and ran to Mahanaim ahead of the Ethiopian, while David was sitting between the inner and outer gates of the town. The
watchman climbed to the roof of the gateway by the wall. As he looked, he saw a lone man running toward him. He shouted the news down to David, and the king replied, "If he is alone, he has news." As the messenger came closer, the watchman saw another man running toward them. He shouted down, "Comes another one." The king replied, "He also have news. The first man runs like Amas son of Zadok." And the watchman said, "He's a good man and comes with good news." The king replied. Then Amas cried out to the king, "Everything is all right." He bowed before the king with his face to the ground and said, "Praise to the Lord your God, who has handed over the rebels who dared stand against my lord the king." "What about Absalom?" the king demanded. "Is he all right?" Amas replied, "When you told me to come, there was a lot of commotion, but I didn't know what was happening." "Wait here," they told him. So Amas stood aside. Then the man from Ethiopia arrived, and "I have good news for my lord the king. Today the Lord has rescued you from all those who rebelled against you." "What about that the young Absalom?" the king demanded. "Is he all right?" And the Ethiopian replied, "May all of your enemies, my lord the king, both now and in the future, share the fate of the young man." The king was overcome with it, and he went up to the room over the way and burst into tears. And as he cried, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I died instead of you. Oh, Absalom, my son." Word soon reached Joab that the king was weeping and mourning for Absalom. All the people heard of the king's deep for his son. The joy of that day's victory went into deep sadness. They crept to the town, and that day, as they were ashamed that they had deserted in battle, they covered his face with his hands and kept saying, "Oh, my son Absalom, Absalom, my son." Then Joab went to the king and said to him, "Saved your life today, and the life of your sons, your daughters, wives, concubines, yacked like this, making us feel ashamed of ourselves. You love those who hate you and hate those who love you. You have made it clear today that your commanders and troops mean nothing. It seems that if Absalom had lived, all of us had died, you would be pleased. Go out there and congratulate your troops, for I swear to the Lord that if you don't go out, not a single one of them will remain here tonight, and then you will be worse off than ever before." So the king went out and took his seat at the town, and the news spread throughout the whole town that he was there. Everyone went to him. Meanwhile, the Israelites who had supported Absalom fled to their homes, and throughout the whole tribes of Israel there was much discussion, arguing on. The people were saying, "The king rescued us from our enemies and saved us from the Philistines. Absalom chased him out of the country. Now Absalom, whom we wanted to rule over us, is dead. Wants David to come back and be our king again." In the second part in John 20, thank God for Jesus. Early on morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene to the tomb and found that the stone had been rolled away at the entrance. She ran and found Simon and Peter, disciples, one whom Jesus loved. She said, "They have taken the Lord's body out of him, and we don't know where they put it." Peter and the other disciples started out for them. They were running, but the other disciples outran Peter. Reached the tomb first. He stood and looked and saw wrappings lying there, but he didn't go in. Simon Peter arrived and went in. He also noticed the linen wrappings lying there. The clothes that had covered Jesus' head was folded up apart from the other wrappings. Then the disciples who had reached the tomb first also went in, and he saw and believed, for until he hadn't understood the scripture had just rise from the dead. Then the home. Mary was standing beside the tomb as she wept. She stooped and looked. She saw two white-robed angels, one outside at the foot, place where the body of Jesus is lying. Why are you crying? The angels asked her. Because they have taken away my Lord, she replied. I don't know where they have put him. She took leave, and one standing there was Jesus. But she didn't recognize him. Dear, why are you crying? Jesus asked her. Who are you looking? She thought he was the guard. Sir, if you have taken him anyway, away me where you have put him, and go to him. Mary, Jesus said to him, Rabbi, don't cling to me, said, for I haven't yet ascended the Father. Find my, tell them I am ascended to my Father, your Father, my God, and your God. Mary Magdalene and the disciples and told them, I have sworn. Then she gave them a message. That Sunday evening the disciples were meeting, locked because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders. Suddenly Jesus standing them. Peace be with you, he said. He showed them the wounds in his hand and his side. They were filled with joy when they saw him. Again, peace be with you, as the Father is me, so I am you. Then he breathed on and said, Holy Spirit, if you forgive sin, forgiven. If you don't forgive them, they forgiven. One of the 12 disciples, Thomas, was not with the others, and Jesus came told, we have seen the Lord. But he read, I do until I see the nail wounds in hands, my fingers into the place, my hand to the wound side. 8 days later, the disciples were together, and at this time Thomas was with them. The door was suddenly as before, Jesus standing among them. Peace be with you, he said. He said, to put your finger here and look at me. Put yours in the wound in my side. Don't faithless longer believe. My Lord, my God, Thomas. Then Jesus told you, because you have seen me, blessed believe seeing me. The disciples do miraculous signs in addition to reading this book, but these are written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing in him, life, power of his name. Psalms 119. Look upon my suffering and rest where I have gotten your instructions. In case my side, protect my life as you. The wicked are far from me, for they bother with your decrees. Lord, your mercy be revived on your regulations. Many in trouble I have not sweared your law, and the traitors make me smart, because they care nothing for your word. Love your Lord, give back my life because failing love. The very essence of your word, just regulations will stand forever. Powerful harass me without cause or tremble at your word. I rejoice in your word like one who does treasure. I hate and arbor all faults of your instructions. I will praise the 7 times a day, because your regulations are just. Those who have peace and do not stumble. I will rescue, so I have obeyed your command, for I love them very much. Yes, I hope in law, because you know everything I do. Oh, listen to my cry, give me turning mind. You promised prayer, rich as you promised. Let praise lips. You have taught me your decrees. Let my sing about your words, for all give me helping hand, for I have chosen to famines. O Lord, I have longed for your and your Sins are my delight. Let me praise you, and your regulations help me. I have lost. Come and find me, for I have not friends. Proverbs, the angrily threat, the wise will try to appease it, and smile. His life, his favor, a spring